right here with me, right? The Ajia Omoife.
Princess
right
Adeze
Okay, and Hajia.
Right, thank you.
Right, welcome aboard. And yes, it does feel good to see very friendly faces, around the studio. Well, this is
right.
politics and current affairs. We call it the Eagles Outlook, but you see it as the politics and current affairs prog show of the breakfast show. And you are not mistaken in that regard, because we talk politics, we talk current affairs, we talk everything in between, and also look deeply as we entertain your thoughts in the discourse. So what is the discourse that we have embedded in the conversation today is what quite a number of persons are very inquisitive to knowing. Political, the reps urging CBN to suspend new ATM charges, right? If you recall, right, some time ago, we've had a conversation about, I have had a conversation, I don't know if you have it or more, where we mentioned about the new CBN, tariff policy, right, which of course has to do with taxing and taxation. I remember asking our guest, what is the lot? What is the for the common man? What is it for us? For Nigerians who are still struggling to get I would call it stipend of 70,000 naira, which of course is the minimum wage. Up until now, as of yesterday, we had reports that quite a number of Nigerians, even in FCT, have not even had the 70,000 yet.
Well, in some cases, it's even below 70,000 naira.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So what would be our lot in that regard? Are we not overheating the polity with some of these policies? Are we not deviating from what governance and government should be? Because we keep talking about raising entrepreneurs, but then we are not forgetting that there's supposed to be a creation of an enduring business atmosphere, right, which is of course the ease of doing business, right? So are we talking about the fact that Nigeria needs monies to fund infrastructural development, and we are forgetting that there is something called insecurity that is ravaging, that would indeed limit or dissuade Nigerians from having the value to give back to government in terms of taxes.
Right.
Right. But then the tax reform bills have come to bear. Even though it's not into mainstream just yet, it's still under deliberations. And there are certain aspects that will be looked into in that regard. And it does have some promising overview when it does hit mainstream, in the sense that it is coming through one channel. So it's not like there's a multiple taxation, right, and all of that. And it's looking at those who are indeed the wealthy of the society will be paying more taxes. All right. And those who are not earning as much, would be having reduced taxes, which quite a number of Nigerians are saying is a welcome development. But then this same tax reform bills has also been fought by especially elites of the northern region of the country, saying, right, we don't want this. It is anti-northern and all of that. So in that kind of scenario, here we are. The CBN brought about that policy, but the reps is urging the CBN to suspend new ATM charges.
Well, I really wouldn't want to say that the concerns of the reps is coming too late, because we're still in the month of March. Today is just 12th, so we still have a long way to go in the month of March. However, let's take a look at the positives, right, that could actually emanate from this policy, or this charges for automated teller machine, that's the ATM transactions. We know that a number of banks in the country they've been very, very docile in terms of matching words with action. I wouldn't want to mention names, but if we had the opportunity, I think honestly, it would have been very, very good for us to drag or to indict some of these banks, from the tier 1 banks especially. I mean, I've had a fair share. So it's coming from a place of experience, right? You go to these banking or ATM galleries, across the country. They tell you it's 24 hours banking service.
247.
Right. You go to their ATM gallery and then there is no cash, temporarily unable to dispense cash. What option do you have than to go to another bank, which is not even your bank, to withdraw money? Now, whether we like it or not, there's an existing tradition or notion or perception that Nigerians have with regards to these banks, not really to make their services or to water down the effort they are making in terms of rendering, good services, but how efficient has it been? Now, some people will tell you categorically that if you go to this bank, you are going to get access to cash, either at the ATM, gallery, or even the banking hall. Even though there has been some restrictions now in the banking hall, I mean, limit as to how much you can withdraw a day. But if you go to their ATM gallery, you are most likely going to get cash. The chances are really very slim that you get there and then you see all the ATM machines showing temporarily unable to dispense cash or out of service.
Right, always that part.
And the banks who are this reliable, there are very few of them. There are very few of them that are really very reliable. So somehow this policy of the central bank, one would want to look at it from that perspective, that this would be able to put some of these banks on their toes. Do you understand?
Right.
Such that your customers, if they come to your ATM gallery and then it's always the same case of unable to dispense cash, temporarily unable to, or out of service, they can now easily file their complaints directly to you. After all, they are across all these social media platforms.
Exactly.
But it's really, really annoying because, like you said, we need to create an enabling environment for small, medium-scale businesses to thrive in this country.
True.
How can you run a business successfully without transacting online or even physically? How possible is that? Some of these banks, they even tell you, online banking has been simplified. It's not just the fact that they don't always have cash in their ATM machines. Their online service very poor. So how do you want that small business owner, the average Nigerian on the street, how do you want them to cope?
No, some questions right there. But then, the Central Bank of Nigeria just recently introduced new charges for automated teller machines, that's ATM transactions. And this has sparked, controversy, which of course we are also, involved in now, caught up in the web with, and we're putting it out there so we can really talk about this. I mean, this controversy has been among Nigerians. Now, this new policy, which took effect on January 1 of 2025, we could all be March 1 of 2025, imposes a fee of 100 naira withdrawals from above 20,000 naira for customers using the other bank's ATMs within bank premises. Now, an additional surcharge of 500 naira is applied for withdrawals outside bank premises. So the CBN's decision has been met with widespread criticism. I mean, I remember when we had the conversation on here via this platform, quite a number of our family members, we added our voices, in that discourse. And our guests also tried to explore the positives from it. Because every time that we see policies come out, we shouldn't be so quick at saying, let's just go to the negatives and all of that.
It is anti-people.
Right. Like, we should try and see what positives are there, for us. But then he also succumbed to the court of public opinion, right? I would say the court of family opinion in this case, to the fact that, look, it was poor timing, it was ill-timed, it was ill-advised, and it was just a burden added to the burden. Very much. That's the word, for want of the word, and all of that. So yeah, it was quite insensitive, at the time, to think, it through from that aspect. But the CBN's decision, of course, met criticism. Nigerians expressing concerns, family members from all walks of life, adding their voices about the additional financial burden that this new charges, will impose on them. The House of Representatives now has intervened, and they're urging the CBN to suspend the implementation of the new charges. Well, I should give them a bell. Yes, because we spoke about this.
You're giving them the bell. I don't know.
We
I don't want to be
about
pessimistic, but do you think this calls for this implementation to be suspended will have a bite on the CBN? It's March 12th already.
Well, it should have a bite. Well, we all know that in the country, of course, many Nigerians, even family members, have said it, that whatever goes up does not come down.
NLC had reacted to this policy,
even before the House of Representatives. Yes, so it makes you wonder. Well, you could call the NLC pressure points that maybe has culminated to the House of Reps member, jumping in on this one, though. But then, if we look at a personal story, you might also identify this very angle, to the discourse.
All right, a Lagos-based entrepreneur who wished to remain anonymous expressed her frustration with the new policy. And according to this person, I am already struggling to pay my rent and feed my family. The new ATM charges are just another burden I don't need.
I don't need another burden I don't need, he said, right? But we should connect with our guest.
That's right.
Right now, as our guest is none other but Mr. Adefolari Olamilekon. He's a political economist, a communication expert, and consultant, lead researcher, and policy analyst. Welcome aboard, sir.
Good morning, and thanks for having me this morning.
Right.
Good morning, Mr. Adefolari.
Good morning to you, Minister. Good morning to our listeners out there.
Yes.
Right.
Well, Sir Adefolari, if you would recall that we have brought this conversation before the court of family eagles, or public opinion, if you like to put it that way, where we mentioned, the CBN policy, this particular policy, and how it's going to bite hard into the financial pockets, right? Financial purchase power of Nigerians. And as Omoife has also put it out, I mean, the NLC and some people had come out at the time to lambast the CBN, this particular CBN policy, saying that it is insensitive, for want of words to describe it. And it didn't seem as though there was any change in sight until just recently. The House of Reps has urged the CBN to put a stay on that policy. If you were to look into all of these from what had happened with the policy up until now, what comes to mind, and what do you think we should expect to see in the coming days with regards to this particular policy?
I think the first thing I would say is that it's a welcome development with a mixed reaction.
Okay.
It's a welcome development with a mixed reaction, in the sense that 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago we still discussed about this particular issue, and then we look at both the cons and the pros of the reason why this particular policy came up. And I quite give a brief background that it wasn't a policy that was not in existence before. It was a policy that was in existence before, that was reviewed upward. Since 2019, that was the last time this kind of policy was reviewed. Many of us could remember that there was a time we were paying 100 naira for charges on ATM. Then in 2019, it was reviewed downward to 65 naira. Then it was later reviewed downward again from 65 naira to 35 naira that some of us are enjoying right now. But recently, because of the imports of the cost of operation that many financial institutions are facing, they have to do a review, upward review, and that upward review affected ATM services that are outside your bank that you're operating with. And that's why we're having these charges that have been upward review to about 100 naira, idea about 500 naira for 20,000 naira and the rest of them. But the challenge remains that if the National Assembly asking for a suspension, and I really like the way they put it, because they already understood that this particular law, they will meet at a middle range. They are asking CBN to engage more with stakeholders. Who are those stakeholders? The likes of NLC, the likes of the bank institution themselves, the likes of trainers and the rest of them, and many Nigerians that will be in part of the stakeholders, so they can fine-tune this particular upward review. And you can also remember that it was out of the section 10, subsection 7 of the CBN guideline on ATM and charges for banks. That's where the law comes from. So it means that they are going to look at the laws that empower CBN to make these changes, this review, then see how they can fine-tune it. But at the end of the day, nobody can doubt the essence that there is cost of production across all services, either financial services, food production, transportation. It has affected also. If the financial sector are now reviewing their own service operation and the rest of them, we just need to look at it from the angle that it will not just be opportunity for us to castigate them, but opportunity for us all to arrive at a middle range that we all will not say, okay, this point, this price is okay for everybody. I think that's what the National Assembly wants to do by calling for the suspension of the charges.
All right, Adefalarin, glad you actually cited section 10.7 of the CBN guide to charges by banks and, in fact, other financial and non-bank financial institutions prescribing an increase in ATM withdrawal charges. However, one thing that actually comes to mind is the absence of proper evaluation and maybe monitoring, if you like. Is the CBN itself, as the apex bank of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is it ignorant of the fact that a number, in fact, I wouldn't want to say most now, because there is really no yardstick to, to conclude that we have more banks who are actually having deficit. But I'm sure that you are aware, because you are Nigerian and you probably transact on a daily basis. But you do know that there is a loophole, there is a gap. A number of banks today, you could be a customer with Bank A and you want to withdraw money, for example. You go to their ATM gallery and all the ATM machines there out of service or temporarily unable to dispense cash. Adefalarin, how does that really affect the average Nigerian on the street or the small or medium scale business owner? And then how do you juxtapose all of that harsh experience in a bid to ensure that the business environment is really, really okay for small and medium scale business to thrive? How do you juxtapose that experience to what the CBN is saying, hinging this on the section 10.7 of the CBN guide, to charges by banks and all of that? Whilst some Nigerians are saying that this is ill-timed, don't you think it is indeed ill-timed as to whether or not against the normal trend of, this is how it has been, so this is just an upward review? Why is this review coming now in the year 2025 when some of the loopholes, some of the challenges have not been addressed?
I think the first thing I will first respond to is that you really helped me out in this particular question by saying monitoring and evaluation.
Right.
What we really lack in this country is how to effectively have a monitoring and evaluation system that will allow CBN to do this work thoroughly. But we can also access that in the last few weeks that this particular policy has come into being, we have seen positive responses from banks. Although we also need to also understand that with these responses from banks, it's a work in progress. But the other angle of your question is that it's an ill time. There is no policy that we will not see as an ill time being implemented. Even if it's a policy to give everybody food, some people will still tell you that policy is not good at this time. So the policy that the government wants to share food for everybody. You see some people that will say, this policy at this point in time is not good to share food for everybody. So there's no time for any policy that can be implemented. That's why most times we call for a better stakeholders engagement on policy. Okay. On the other hand of this particular issue is this. Today the issue, before the CBN came out with this particular policy early this year, there was a meeting between the Bankers Committee and the CBN, and they all eroded and put out their challenges. And one of the challenges they put out is that the cost of operation of business in Nigeria has affected them not to be able to put money in their ATM, either in their bank premises or outside their bank premises, which CBN understood that see the manager of the economy and they accommodated it. But what was lacking was that they didn't carry everybody along. I wish that Bankers Committee and the CBN meeting, they carried NNC along, they carry TUC along, they carry all the major associations that are supposed to be part and parcel of that meeting along. This won't have happened. Okay, look at this, what we are discussing today. You see Manufacturing Association of Nigeria kicking against the policy. You see NATIMA kicking against the policy. You see all these chambers of commerce kicking against the policy. It is only the group of people that or association that are a little bit closer to the people in terms of the grassroots, like NS and TUC, that are kicking against the policy. Because you also that group like NATIMA, like Abuja Chambers of Commerce, like Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, you all feel the impact of the high cost of operation in Nigeria. You must understand, but in as much as we want a better policy for Nigeria, what the National Assemblies have called for, which I also interested in, let us engage broadly, let us engage widely before we come to a conclusion that we want to increase ATM charges on Nigerians. And that is the effect. And so, on the aspect of evaluation and monitoring, it is now left for CBN to also re-engineer their monitoring and evaluation department to see how they can ensure that whatever they have agreed on, either now or tomorrow, they are able to follow it to the latter. And that will be better for Nigerians going forward in this regard.
Okay, Adefolarin, from your own perspective, there's been some level of improvement ever since this policy took effect, right?
Exactly.
Can this tempo be sustained? Don't you think this is just a charade just to make Nigerians perhaps come, to terms with this policy? And then on the second hand, you are saying that there is no policy that Nigerians will not react to and even target ill-timed. Mr. Adefolarin, where it started this year on a little bit of dramatic note, the month of March, for example, is one to really reckon with.
Honestly.
Telcom's tariff hike, the cable subscription, even though that is still, under contention and all of that. And then you see have ATM charges. Come on. And then you are even making examples with the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, NASIM, and what have you. These are big organizations, Mr. Adefolarin. How much of a concern should this be for the small and medium or the average Nigerian on the street? Because the concerns are actually coming from the street.
Let's take a look at this issue in a very diagnostic way.
Okay.
I'm banking with a bank, and I need an emergency withdrawal, and I go to a bank B to go and make withdrawal. You are getting it?
Right.
Now, the bank B that I went to go and make withdrawal is not my bank. Although we understand that we can use our ATM across all banks. Now the bank B I'm going to is making additional operational costs to ensure that they put money in their vault or in their ATM. But the case point is here, which we must all understand, that what led to this policy is because of the lack of broader engagement. Because I'm going to emphasize that, and because that's what the National Assembly is even talking about, that there was no broader engagement with all Nigerians on this particular aspect. And I also make an example of NATIMA and Manufacturing Association of Nigeria. They themselves have been complaining about several government policy that we are making a session with that has affected cost of operation, because the basic point that led to this new charges is cost of operation. So if cost of operation is not worked on to ensure that services can be provided in a more meaningful way, there is no way we will not continue to complain about some of these issues. Now the telecom issues that we are talking about today, it is because of several factors that have affected them, but we all know that lack of engagement with Nigerians also led to that E-time, I will use your word, E-time agreement that they should increase the tariff. How would they have engaged Nigerians the way they're supposed to engage Nigerians? We'll be talking about 50% increase in telecom tariff, and we also will be talking about a high tariff on ATM cost for us on ATM, because they are not engaging Nigerians as expected. And that's what I'm trying to emphasize in this discussion today.
Right. Well, we'll just head out for a quick recess. We will be right back, and we will engage you again, as well as hear from family members, what they think in this regard. Right. Well, let's get on to, this quick recess. We'll be right back.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Are you a Nigerian undergraduate with big ideas for change? Are you passionate about governance, activism, and social impact? Do you want to create real impact in your community and have your voice heard on key national issues? The Youth Leadership Development Program YLDP 2025 is here. This is your chance to gain first-class leadership training, mentorship, and secure up to 2.5 million naira to bring your community change project to life and advocate for the Nigeria we want. Don't miss out. Visit www.nigeriayouthfund.org to apply now. Application deadline is 14th March 2025. Time is ticking, so hurry. YLDP 2025 is powered by the Nigeria Youth Futures Fund, NYFF, and implemented by Leap Africa.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Has anyone told you you can talk about your business on radio for just
20,000 naira?
Get a chance to talk your business for 25 minutes on The Entrepreneur. Mondays to Fridays, 3 p.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. For more inquiries, call 090-9984-4433. 090-9984-4433. Hurry now.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Right, back from recess now, 31 minutes gone past the hour of 9 on the AM side, and we're still looking at the fact, the CBN policy, where the House of Reps has urged the CBN to put a stay on that policy, where, of course, there will be deductions. I mean, is it 100 naira now for monies withdrawn above 20,000 naira and all of that, and going to other ATM, machine or to withdraw, right, will be around, is it 500 naira now? So if you put it all together, you're withdrawing like 30k and all of that. You best would want to withdraw within your bank's ATM, or because if you choose some other ATM spots, you might just be charged close to, if not 3,000 or more, just withdrawing.
So which works for you, to just stick to the POS operator and just know that this has been the tradition. They get to charge you,
right?
Maybe 200 naira. Even now, it's 200 naira for 5,000 naira.
Yes, right now, and you cannot even bargain it. There's no bargaining. It's now fixed officially, right? And it makes us wonder, Omar. Right. Something comes to mind. Are we a people are we a people who have come to accept just anything that is thrown at us, as long as our hearts are beating, as long as we could still breed, we manage to breed and all of that, then we are fine? That's one. Secondly,
right,
Adefolari made a strong insight into how much of the people are carried along. Are we even carried along? And then it just gives you the place of how important is a Nigerian's voice in the sphere of policy making within this country. Those of us that have been put in a certain positions to spearhead very critical institutions, right? Institutions and conversations that's supposed to set a trajectory for Nigeria into the proposed and supposed promised land that we've still not gotten to just yet.
Right.
We get there to those positions, and we suddenly forget that there were people who helped us to that position. There were people who put in the good word for us to that position. There is a community that we came out from that would suffer in terms of our action and inactions. Now, I'm not just talking about, the CBN, the governor as a person now.
Right.
I'm also saying as a person and as an official that is put there to manage the financial architecture of our great nation, Nigeria, it is expected, Nigerians expect, that we be called into such policies, to deliberate, to have proper understanding and awareness, so that we don't have any form of doubts, and then we can reach a conclusive conclusion on certain matters.
Quite frankly, there's a reason why it is called democracy, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So the people, it is very important for us to really attribute every level of seriousness and importance to the people, because there is really no government without the people, whether we like it or not.
Right.
It is the people's votes that actually put whoever it is that we have at the helm of affairs representing us today. So it's no longer news. It's somewhat of a tradition now that when it comes to policies that have a little bit of undertone attached to it, politically or economically or otherwise, it is hurriedly carried out and even implemented. And then when it's really not going to have so much of a bite on the masses, they throw it open, for deliberation and all of that. Quite frankly, we really have a long way to go. And it looks like some of us are sitting on the fence. Some of these economists are also guilty of this. I say this because when the pure water company decides to add 20 naira to a bag of pure water, we fault them. Oh, water, as cheap as water is, why should water be so expensive? Because a number of policies that have been introduced over time, it has been actually hinged on the cost of doing business or the cost of the running cost. So if a pure water seller or the owner of a pure water company decides to add 100 naira to every bag of water or every pack of bottled water, we shouldn't also fault the person.
Right.
If a yam seller who goes to the farm to harvest his or a yam for sale is telling you that, oh no, a tuber of yam cannot be sold for 2,000 naira again, it's not 2,500 naira, and then they give you certain truckload of reasons as to why the price is now 2,500 naira, we should also fault them. It's also the cost of doing business, because they also pay money. They harvest this yam from the farm, they transport it, the middlemen and they are there, they get to the market. Some of them even pay shop rent, even ground rent. So it's all cost of running business. But if we continue in this trajectory, I mean, can we really, I wish we're going to see light at the end of the tunnel. Is it going to be possible for us to see light at the end of the tunnel?
Right. Well, we'll just open the phone lines at this point. You tell us what you think about this. The reps coming in, wading into the discourse and saying that, well, CBN policies that you have set to implement, in fact, that has been started implementation, in fact, with a full alacrity, with no waste of time. It has started implementation from March 1 of 2025. Please don't go ahead with it. Put a stay on it. We are trying to consider the people. In fact, from the look of things, the House of Representatives called on the Central Bank of Nigeria to suspend. Well, didn't quite say eradicate or stop. It says suspend the implementation.
Maybe for further deliberations.
Right.
And maybe a downward review of this, the price attached to this policy. This is really sparking a lot of reactions for different reasons.
For different reasons, exactly.
If you own a bank account, as opposed to you depositing your money for it to be saved. And how many of you, if you have a savings account, you put 5,000 naira there, you leave it there for a year, how much do you meet in your account at the end of the year?
You get deductions, actually.
There is card maintenance levy.
Yeah.
There is electronic fee, electronic transaction fee or something.
That's right. There is the one that has to do. Yeah, I think there's the one that has to do with social media, where we're sending you messages to your email and all of that. I mean, there's
alerts and notifications.
Yes.
So it's really a lot. It's a lot, really.
One day,
how much do you even have in your bank account in the first place?
One day, there I was, just seated, one hot afternoon, just as in the season we are now.
Yeah.
And then suddenly 4,000, I'm not exaggerating. At first I thought it was 2, and now that I recall it, it's 4,000 naira just left my account, just like that. And I got notified. And the bank, till today, they've not given me a reason for that's deduction. I never borrowed.
I feel so tempted
monies.
to indict a particular bank that I'm actually banking
Okay,
with at this
don't
point
be
in time.
tempted.
For real.
But opening the phone lines now, you tell us 0907-353-0044. Ask those questions that are pertinent in your heart, and we will indeed bring our guest back in, to shed more light in that regard as well, and put your fears, or your concerns to rest. Or you call 0908-766-8888. Now the WhatsApp portal number is 0909-705-4450. Just before we jump into the messages right now, let's go see some countries a comparative analysis of some countries that have gotten it rightly. If you look at such analysis of the new ATM charges in Nigeria with the international best practices, it does reveal that many countries have implemented policies aimed at promoting financial inclusion and reducing, cash transactions. Take, for example, South Africa now. South Africa Reserve Bank has implemented a policy of free ATM withdrawals for customers using their own bank's ATMs. However, customers are charged fee for using other banks' ATMs. Okay, so that's going on in South Africa. In Kenya too, the Central Bank of Kenya has implemented a policy of mobile banking, which allows customers to conduct financial transactions using their mobile phones. This has helped to increase financial inclusion as well as reduce the need for ATM transactions. I don't know, are there other countries that you know of?
Well, in Brazil, there's also
okay.
a policy of free ATM withdrawals for customers using their own bank's ATMs.
Oh.
However, customers are charged a fee for using other banks' ATMs. So this policy from the Apex Bank, it's not completely new.
It's not new.
But the amount
That's been charged
attached to this policy is what is of utmost concern to a number of Nigerians. And in other climes where they also have this policy replicated, you find out that the banks, a customer's bank is actually, they are very efficient.
Right.
When they tell you 24 hours banking, it is 24 hours banking. If they tell you, they also render online banking services, it is just, like that.
Right.
But is that the case in Nigeria? We might not really want, to stress the need for you to drag whatever bank it is you're banking with.
Right, please.
So it we will not be slammed for,
Lawsuits left and center.
but it hurts, really.
It does.
Good morning.
Hello,
Good morning,
yes.
Daniel. Good morning, Efe.
Good morning,
Good morning to you, please. What's your name?
Yes,
Where are you calling from? Felix.
Take him be.
Oh, take him be. Okay, take him be. All right.
Yes, Utuas, you were asking that in all of this, whether we Nigerians will have a voice. Yes, we have a voice, but
Okay.
our voice over the years, cannot be put, in a place where the people who are in government, they will hear, our voice. And the National Assembly that should have been our voice, in most cases, it's like those institutions, they connect with them. They just go by whatever they're supposed to sit on it and maybe not accept. Because if we want to go out and protest, like in some other country, you discover that ordinary visa, somebody is, maltreated, they can go out and protest. They can protest that there is no life for like maybe 2 days. But in Nigeria, if you want to go out and protest, you discover that some people will even come out, they will hijack that protest. So one of the ways that our voice could have been heard, is through the protest. But when you go out to protest, some will come and hijack, they will destroy cars, they will destroy, properties. And not just the banking sector, do us. If we talk about the organization like, the DSTV, the GoTV,
Okay.
you will discover that, in some African countries, you recharge and, it's not by paying or payment, like in Nigeria here. You pay as you go.
Okay.
But but here now, we don't have light. You can recharge your GoTV and there is no light for that amount, and your money is gone. Okay. Another perfect one is that you can buy your data and maybe you don't finish it. At the end of the month, it cannot be rolled over. They will just carry that data, wipe it away. And those who are in charge of those areas, they are making money. Okay, those who are in charge of the banking sector, those that they will withdraw money and that money will be hanging, or you will send money, that money will be hanging. sometimes maybe 2,000, and you don't want to go to the bank because the transport alone, is more than that 2,000. And those who are in charge are allowed, one of the banks, the person who was in charge was able to run away with about 100 and something billion naira, because those monies have been accumulating for over years. So the banking sector, the kind of charges they are charging us, we don't have little or nothing to do. The National Assembly, they should be our voice, and they should stand their ground.
Okay.
They are failing, in this regard. And I also want to call on the National Assembly. Let them, as our lawmakers, let them get GoTV, and DSTV to make us subscribe, and we pay as we watch. Not that you will start payment and you don't have light, and at the end of the month, your subscription has expired. Thank you.
Got that.
Thank you very much,
Turkinby. Some strong points that can be put out there, but let's go see this one via the WhatsApp.
All right, Samuel from Kuje says, greetings to you, my brother, Udwa Daniel and
Samuel.
Princess Adeze Omoife. Thank you. This bank charges is so annoying and frustrating. Withdrawal charge, transfer charge, ATM maintenance charge. Even when someone sends you money, they will charge you. By the time you calculate all these charges, one begins to think that there is no need to keep your money in the bank.
Right.
When will the people in authority make policy or policies that will make the poor Nigerians to have a breath of fresh air? Sometimes the ATM machine will swallow your card and take
that part.
It can only take it take only God knows. All right, it takes
God knows when, I think.
Okay, God knows when or how long for you to get your card back. Where do we go from here? Can't we have a functional system in this country? Can't we have a policy that will be masses friendly? I rest my case. You and Princess Adeze Omoife, may your day be filled with glorious testimony in Jesus' name.
I appreciate
we
that
say
one
amen.
from
Thank you, Samuel, for that message.
Looking at yet another message now. This one is coming. Okay, but just before the message,
let's take this call. Good morning.
Good morning to you, the gentleman and a lady in the studio.
Yeah, good morning, to you, please.
To you.
What should I be calling from?
Yeah, this is Namema, Dr. Dile Dennis Michael.
All right, Dr. Dile,
good to have
welcome
you.
aboard. Very quickly, 1 second, 1 minute if you can, please. 1 minute if you can, for want of time.
Okay, no, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, talking about this charging of the things. Like now, like me, I'm US. Are you hearing me?
Yes, please.
Go ahead, please.
How much are you going to come out, are going to pay to go to bank to get money? And after you get it, somebody want to collect 5,000 naira now, you tell him 200. He say no, now other naira, you know what to do, immediately bank. But you have no option. What do you want to do? How much bank is going to charge you? How much are you going to earn from this side? Yeah? See, you see this country, it's only God Almighty that will save us. Because if you continue to be saying like this, because we have been saying it and they have not taken action. Because if you continue to be doing something, it be like, they say, you see this country what they're about, some people take the power into their hands. You know, say, if you want to lead people, you lead them where they cry, you listen to them. But if you are ruling people, whether they are crying, it be like this man, this man where you say the Israelites will not cross.
Pharaoh.
Are you hearing me?
Pharaoh, okay.
And after he said it, but when God say time has come, can any man say no? Let us let know.
Right.
Until they drag the Red Sea, and he tell Moses, use your ark, divide water. And they pass. And those who are after them, took the army out, them. Before they enter, it's okay. Use it again. And it cover everybody.
All right.
And all of them.
Dr. Dele, we can't
Thank
go
you so
any
much.
further.
Thank you.
But thank you. We will not be able to take the call. Remember,
Okay.
there is
we've got bills to pay, actually.
bills to pay and a program coming up in a short bit. But
That's
we'll
right.
just try as much as possible to reconnect with our guest. But we would be taking Abaz's message right about now.
Okay,
Yes.
Abbas reporting from Dusit says, good morning, Sayudi.
Good morning, Abbas.
Omoife and our guest. It is wrong for Nigerians to be bearing the inefficiency of commercial banks in Nigeria. Banks ought to be the ones paying this withdrawal charges for failing to put money in their ATM machines, which I think this 100 naira charges is a direct ploy to or by the commercial banks to change Nigerians. From all indications, the CBN is not properly regulating the activities of commercial banks for the benefit of Nigerians, but their regulations is for the benefits of their commercial banks. Just look at the level of defaced notes in circulation, yet nothing is done about it.
Right.
They will never obey the House of Reps like they did on the 15 naira transfer charges being deducted from people's money. Abbas, thanks for that message.
Abbas, appreciate.
Baby Blessing actually sent a voice note, but I don't know if we can squeeze that in. That's just 1 minute and 20 seconds.
I really doubt that. Well, let's just bring this conversation to a conclusion.
Right.
Mr. Adefolari, you've heard Nigerians talk. I mean, if possible, maybe in a minute or 1 minute 30 seconds. How do you react to this, especially with the reps urging the CBN to put a stay on it?
I think effectively, and very instructive. Nigerians will definitely be on your opposing side. I mean, ordinary Nigerians are going to pay the import of this particular policy. Particularly people who are so used to using all banks all banks ATM. So definitely feel it, because majority of us who have now understood this particular policy are now sticking to our bank branch ATM. We don't want to go outside our bank ATM to go and withdraw money, so that we'll not be using money anyhow. So but for many Nigerians who are so used to this, going to different banks to collect money, so definitely feel the import of it. But going forward is the import of what I said at the beginning of this discussion, that we need engagement. We need engagement. Government should not just be gathering professional association, trader association alone to be talking to them. We should also create forum for ordinary Nigerians to also raise their voice on particular issues. I hope you are hearing me.
Yes, please.
Because what we are missing out is that, like this issue now that they want to engage stakeholders now, we'll be shocked that it is association they will just bring. NLC, TUC, they will come and talk. The ordinary Nigeria doesn't have a forum, a platform to also put their voice. All the people that call you on this program today, they are all opposing the policy. But guess what? By the time the stakeholders that will be meeting with National Assembly members, they will be talking. They'll be talking in line with what we favor them. That's why I raised the issue of the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria and Nasima not opposing this kind of policy from the beginning. But we just hope that we're going to have a better platform that will allow Nigeria to express their desire on any government policy going forward.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much. A very, very, exquisite. You are Mr. Adefolari Olamilekon. You are indeed a political economist, a communication expert and consultant, lead researcher and policy analyst. We look forward to more conversation with you in the coming days.
All right, thank you so much, and very good morning to every caller and all our listeners. And Omete and Udwa, thank you for having me. And thank you for allowing me to be doing this with you guys every week.
Oh, the pleasure is ours.
Thank you.
Right. And Omoife would always tell us that the views
expressed on the show by the guests, the contributors, were not influenced by Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja. My name is Omoife Peace or Samara.
And my name is Udwa Daniel. Don't go away.